Economics of aging. Healthcare is a major concern in the United States, and it's expensive. Healthcare insurance pays for a large portion of healthcare, so people usually are not that aware of the real cost. In 1965, Medicare was established. This is a government program that provides healthcare funding for older adults and those with disabilities. Most Americans qualify for Medicare, excuse me, at age 65 or older. In 2015, Medicare provided coverage for 55.5 million people, but of course that number is expected to rise to 92.4 million by the year 2050. There are 4 distinct programs within Medicare. Part A, we have hospital insurance that covers hospitalization, skilled nursing care, some home health services, and hospice services. Part B, we have medical insurance covering 80% of the customary and usual rate that's charged by providers. Many older adults will pay for private supplemental insurance to cover costs not covered by Medicare. Part C is what we call the Medicare Advantage. Medicare benefits through private insurance companies help negate the need for supplemental health insurance. However, there are limitations and rules to this, and it may also include prescription drug benefits. And then Part D is prescription drug coverage. Supplemental Medicaid may be available for those older adults that meet certain financial need requirements. Many of those who have assets don't qualify, so they're left with what we call a Medicare Gap or a Medigap that they have to pay for out of their own pocket. Many older people buy private medical insurance, often at unreasonable prices, to pay medical bills that are not covered by Medicare. Question. The Medicare program that provides for prescription drug coverage is the program that covers specifically prescription drug coverage is D. The United States spends more money on healthcare than any other country in the world, but unfortunately, healthcare is not provided for all U.S. citizens and does not do as good a job at meeting the population's healthcare as other countries. During 2015, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, also known as CMS, reported that approximately $3.2 trillion was spent on healthcare in the United States. And a significant portion of that is spent on the older population. Rising healthcare costs require changes in the way that healthcare is financed and delivered. In 1967, Medicare cost $3 billion in the United States, but in 2022, that amount is expected to surpass $1 trillion. Even with Medicare, 1/4 of the recipients in 2016 paid 20% or more of their income on healthcare costs. The Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act was signed into law in 2010, and this includes numerous health-related provisions to take effect over several years. Changes would be in health insurance, healthcare funding, student loans, etc., and the payment would be done by taxes, fees, and other measures. There's still a great deal of controversy because long-term effects of the legislation are still unknown. It includes expanded coverage, greater competition among insurance companies, coverage of people with pre-existing medical conditions, and decreasing costs for older adults. However, it does cut Medicare funding and has cuts to Medicare Advantage Program Part C while increasing the Medicare tax. The Supreme Court ruled the act legal, but stated this is still a tax that the American people are paying for. It also increases the possibility of legislation determining how health care is provided, in addition to how it's funded. Most healthcare services are consumed by the very ill or terminally ill minority, most of whom are older adults. 1/4 of all Medicare dollars are spent on services for Medicare clients in their last year of life. Serious questions are being raised about the appropriateness of using intensive, expensive interventions to extend the lives of terminally ill older people. We're seeing some of that with COVID and the lack of healthcare services, nurse burnout, etc., where we're having to make some hard decisions on what we're doing with people who are potentially at the end of life where COVID is concerned. Are we going to institute heroic measures to save these people? In some facilities, they're making those tough decisions. Financial issues are forcing ethical concerns regarding how to allocate healthcare resources. You know, the advances in medical technology have really benefited young and old and has improved the quality of life for some of these people, while some of these people will never lead normal lives again. Healthcare is geared towards saving people, so choosing to allow the very ill or terminally ill to die due to financial concerns is a very difficult one for healthcare providers. It's also important to talk to clients and families frankly about treatments and prognoses and encourage informed decisions about end-of-life care. This situation has created a moral, ethical, and legal dilemma with no simple right answer. So I'm charging you with looking at the questions on this slide. These are some of the questions that are coming up. What's your opinion?